Good morning. Today's lesson, lesson 4.5, our topic is multiply with 7. And our essential question is, what strategies can you use to multiply with 7? So we're going to discuss a couple of different strategies. Keep in mind that you can always use the previous strategies we've learned, such as using a number line, skip counting, doubling, so on. So our unlock the problem today. Jason's family has a new puppy. Jason takes a turn walking the puppy once a day. How many times will Jason walk the puppy in 4 weeks? Okay, so once a day, 4 weeks. How often does Jason walk the puppy? Once a day. How many days are in 1 week? 7 days. So we need to find 4 times 7 because he's walking the dog 7 days every week. Once a day would be 7 days in a week. All right. And it says one way, in addition to the previous methods we've learned, is we can use the commutative property of multiplication. So if we know that, if you know 7 times 4, we can use that fact to find 4 times 7. You can change the order of the factors, and the product is the same. So that's the definition of the commutative property, changing the order of the factors and the product remaining the same. So 7 times 4 is the same as 7 times 2, doubled. 7 times 2 is 14, and 14 and 14 is 28. So if 7 times 4 is 28, then so is 4 times 7. So he walks the puppy 28 times in 4 weeks. Another way we could do it is use the distributive property, which we discussed yesterday, and complete the array to show 4 rows of 7. Okay, so continue to complete the array. We have 4 rows, and in each row we will have 7. So that represents the 4 weeks of 7 days. Okay, draw a line to break the array. Where distributive property is a number times the sum is the same as that number multiplied by the addends. Okay, so we have 4 times 7, and we can break this into 2 smaller ones. And so here they're saying, let's keep the 4 and let's break it into, I just said keep the 4 and I drew a line through the 4. Okay, so how do we want to break the 7? We could do 4 times 2. Must be asleep this morning. 4 times 2, 8. And in the other side, the other array, this next array, we have 4 times 5. And 4 times 5 would be 20. So now we can just add 8 and 20, and we get 28. So we could also add 4 times 3 plus 4 times 4. We could add 4 times 6 plus 4 times 1. So multiple ways to use the distributive property on that one. Okay, and so our math talk is actually discussing that. What are some other ways we could break apart the 4 times 7 array? We could have 2 rows of 7 plus 2 rows of 7. We could have had 4 rows of 4 plus 4 rows of 3. And we could have had 4 rows of 6 plus 4 rows of 1. So all those are some different ways we could have broken this array up. I suppose you could have said we could have 3 rows of 7 plus 1 row of 7. Those are all some different ways to do it. All right. Another method, a third one, is use a math fact you know and then build from there. So start with a fact you know. For instance, 2 times 7. We should know what 2 times 7 is when we're trying to find 4 times 7. So 2 times 7, we should know is 14. So they took that array, split it into 2 times 7, and we have 14. Now we're going to add a group of 7, which would be 3 times 7. So we have 2 times 7, which was 14, plus 7 more. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And then add 7 more to get your fourth group of 7. So 3 times 7 is 21, plus 7 more would be 28. Okay. So we're going to use any of those methods today to solve these problems. Explain how you could break apart an array to find 6 times 7. Draw an array to show your work. Okay, so we have 6 by 7. Go ahead and draw your 6 by 7. Okay, so I've drawn a 6 by 7. Hopefully you're finished with yours. If not, you know you can always hit pause and finish drawing yours first. All right, so 6 rows of 7. And we need to break it apart to show the distributive property. So which one would be easier to break up for you? 6 times 7? I mean the 6 or the 7? There's no right or wrong answer. So I think I'm going to keep the 6, and I think I'll break up the 7. And I want to break the 7 into 5 and 2. So I'm going to have 6 times 7 is the same as 6 times 5, my first array, plus 6 times 2 for my second array. So 6 times 7 is the same as 6 times 5, which is 30. 6 times 2 is the same as 2 times 6, which is 12. So 6 times 7 equals 42. All right. Find the product. 9 times 7. So you have to decide which way is the easiest way to solve this problem. Is it easier for you to use the commutative property and say 7 times 9? Is it easier for you to use the distributive property and break 9 times 7 into 2 smaller problems? Or is it easier to use a multiplication factor method, like 7 times 5 and then keep adding 7? Any one of those methods works. I think I'm going to use the distributive property And 9 times 7 is the same as 5 times 7 plus 4 times 7. So I took the 9 and I made it into two smaller problems. So 7 times 5 is 35. And 7 times 4, 4 times 7 is the same as 2 times 7 twice. So that would be 28. 8 and 5 is 13. 3 tens plus 2 tens plus the regroup 10 is 6. So 63. Number 3, 5 groups of 7 is the same as saying 7 groups of 5, which is a little easier to do because now we just skip count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. 7 times 3. Well, 7 times 3, let's use a math fact we know. 7 times 2 equals 14. So 7 times 2 plus 7 . Okay, so 2 times 7 plus 7 is 21. 1 times 7, just use the identity property multiplication, 7. All right, 7 times 7. Let's use a fact we know. We should know what 5 times 7 is. 5 times 7 is 35. So 5 times 7 plus 7, that would be 6 times 7. 35 plus 7 is 42. So 6 times 7 plus 7, now that would be 7 times 7. 6 times 7 is 42. 42 plus 7 is 49. 6 times 7, why don't we split that into the idea of doubles. So 6 times 7 is the same as 7 times 3, double. 3 times 7 is 21. We just solved that right here. So 3 times 7 is 21 plus 21. So 6 times 7 is 42. 7 times 10. Remember that whenever we multiply by 10, it has to end in a 0, and then you can just multiply the non-zero. 7 times 1, 7. 7 times 2, just something we know. 7 twos is the same as saying 2 times 7. So 2 sets of 7. 7 times 3, we've done that a couple times already, 21. 6 times 7, we've done that right there, 42. 9 times 7, we solved that up here where we use the distributive property, and 9 times 7 is 63. 7 times 8, well, we could use doubles in this case, and we could say 4 times 7 double. So what is 7 times 4? 4 times 7 is 28. 28 doubled is 56. 1 times 7, just 7. 4 times 7, we can use doubles. So 7 times 2 is 14. 14 and 14 is 28. Four times 10, we know it has to end in a 0. 4 and 1 is 4. 7 times 0, that's just the 0 property. 2 times 7, 14. 5 times 7 is the same as saying 7 times 5, and 7 5 is 35. 6 times 9, we can write 6 times 9 as 6 times 5 plus 6 times 4. So let's break the 9 up into 2 smaller problems. 6 times 5 is 30. And 6 times 4 is 24. So 6 times 9 is 50. And 8 times 7, we've talked about, it's the same as saying 7 times 4 doubled. And 7 times 4 doubled is 56. 22. Lori has a dog named Rusty. How many baths will Rusty have in 7 months? And it says use the table for 22 through 24. So our table says Rusty's care. Food, he gets 3 cups a day. Water, he gets 4 cups a day. And a bath, he gets 2 times a month. So how many baths will Rusty have in 7 months? So 7 months, every month he gets 2 baths. So we can have 7 times 2 or 2 times 7. So all I did here was write the commutative property. 2 7s equals 14 times. How many more cups of water than food will Rusty get in 1 week? Well, there's a couple ways of doing this. How many more cups of water than food does he get per day? Here I see 4 cups of water, 3 cups of food. So he gets 1 more cup of water per day. And it says in 1 week. So 1 week would be 7 days. So 1 more cup of water than food for 7 days. So 7. We get a total of 7 cups, 7 more cups of water. The other way we could have done that is multiplied both of those by 7. So we could have said 3 times 7 and 4 times 7. 3 times 7 is 21, and 4 times 7 is 28, and then we could have subtracted them. Okay. So either way. Tim's dog, Midnight, eats 28 cups of food in a week. Midnight eats the same amount each day. In 1 day, how many more cups of food will Midnight eat than Rusty? So we know we have 28 cups of food, and he eats the same amount each day. So 28 cups in a week. So how many, we can add by 7s to see how many cups he would get. The reason we can add by 7 is because there's 7 days in a week. So we go 7. 7 plus 7 is 14. 14 plus 7 is 21. 21 plus 7 is 28. Okay, so it would take me 4 groups of 7 to equal 28. So 7 days with 4 cups each day. Rusty eats 3 cups a day. So 4 for Midnight, take away 3 from Rusty. Midnight eats 1 more cup of food per day. And 25. Jose walks his dog 10 miles every week. How many miles do they walk in 7 weeks? Okay, well, 10 miles every week for 7 weeks. That would simply be 7 times 10, where the 7 represents the 7 weeks, and the 10 miles, the 10 represents the 10 miles each week. So 7 times 10, we know it has to end in a 0. 7 times 1 is 7. Dave takes Zoe, his dog, for a 3-mile walk twice a day. How many miles do they walk in 1 week? So 3 miles twice a day. 3 times 2 would be 6 miles per day. But that wasn't our question. Our question was how many miles do they walk in 1 week? So now we go 6 miles per day times 7 days, and we need to figure that out. So 6 times 7 is the same as 3 times 7 plus 3 times 7. So 21 plus 21, 42. Aaliyah arranges some playing cards in 7 equal rows with 7 cards in each row. How many cards does Aaliyah arrange? So we can draw an array for this one. So draw in 7 rows of 7. This is not the only way to solve it. You could choose one of the other methods. For instance, you could use a math fact, 7 times 5, and then add 2 more 7s. Could skip count, use a number line, or use distributive property as we're doing in this example by drawing an array. So 7 rows of 7. How many cards does she arrange? So right now our array shows 7 and 7. So we can break this into 2 smaller arrays, which would be 7 times 5 plus 7 times 2. Okay, so my first array is 7 rows of 5, and my second array is 7 rows of 2. Okay. So 7 times 5 is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. And 7 twos is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So how much are there all together? 5 and 4 is 9. 3 and 1 is 4. So 4 tens. 4 minutes. All right, page 158. To help you stay healthy, you should eat a balanced diet and exercise every day. The table shows the recommended daily servings for 3rd graders. You should eat the right amounts of the food groups. Suppose you want to share with your friends what you learned about healthy eating. How could you summarize what you learned? When you summarize, you restate the most important information in a shorter way to help you understand what you have read. To stay healthy, you should eat a balanced diet and exercise every day. A 3rd grader should eat 3 cups. A 3rd grader should eat 3 cups of dairy products, such as milk and cheese, each day. A 3rd grader should eat blank of vegetables and fruit each day. Vegetables and fruit. So 2 and 1, so 3 cups. How many cups of vegetables and fruits should a third grader eat in 1 week? So we know that they should have 3 cups per day. So 3 times 7 is the same as 2 times 7 plus 1 times 7. 14 plus 7 is 21. A third grader should eat blank of whole grains such as bread and cereal each day. So we go to our graph and we find whole grains, and it says 6 ounces. 6 ounces of whole grains such as bread and cereal each day. How many ounces of whole grains should a third grader eat in 1 week? So now if we have 6 ounces per day, it would be 6 times 7. And we can use the idea of doubling. So 3 times 7 plus 3 times 7. 3 times 7 we know is 21 plus 21. 1 and 1 is 2. 2 and 2 is 4. So 42. All right, so that's it for lesson 4.5. You'll now do your online practice to show what you've learned. Use your textbook to help you as you go through the math problems because they're all the same. If you need help, you can stop and ask me. You can also rewatch the video. Tomorrow we'll be working on our mid-chapter checkpoint, and we'll have a quiz after that. So until then, bye.